The hour of 10:30 having arrived, the Santa Cruz City Council will come to order, and the clerk would be kind enough to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero.
Present.
Bruner.
Present.
Newsom.
Present.
Holder. Here. O'Hara.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Present.
And Mayor Keeley.
Present. We have established a quorum. Any statements of disqualification this morning? Colleagues, Councilmember Bruner.
Thank you, Mayor. Closed session items, agenda items 2, part 1 and 2.
Thank you. Others? What we are going to do is, in a couple of minutes, we're going to go into closed session. We have a number of items in our closed session. We have conference with legal counsel. We have real property negotiations. We have conference regarding anticipated litigation. We have conference regarding existing litigation. We have conference with labor negotiators and public employment government code section 54957. These will all be discussed in closed session, and they are noticed on our calendar, on our agenda. Is there anyone with us today or online who wishes to make a comment on our closed session agenda? This would be the opportunity for you to do so. Please come forward, sir, and welcome. Good morning, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Damian Joseph Galprin Gibson, and I'm here to talk to you, Mayor, and this rest of the council to explain what happened. How much time do I have exactly? Is it 3 minutes or 5?
2 minutes, but
2 minutes.
But take a couple of. I'm not going to truncate this. I mean, if you go too long, I will. But take a little bit of time here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So a code enforcement officer contracted by the city of Santa Cruz, an employee of Public Agency Resources, subsidiary of Wilden Group Incorporated, threatened my 9-year-old daughter.
Okay.
I have that, an admission of him doing that and a reenactment on recording. Then following that, and on that recording, he admits to issuing the citations on false claims, forcing it, circumventing due process. On top of threatening my daughter, they then came with the help of Santa Cruz police, just there to stand watch. Sonia, you saw. But then I had all these speeches and I wrote it 15 times and then I just scrapped it so I could just shoot it from the hip.
You're doing fine.
Then they came and seized my artwork.
Okay.
And
As you're pondering there for just a second, you've got about half a minute left, and I'm going to let you go over by about 15 seconds. So manage your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
I have recording. I have the whole seizure on video recording, my phone, this flash drive here. I have audio recording taken on my iPhone of Mr. James or Jim. He signs his name both ways on paperwork. I don't know. I've got him. He admits to him following orders that the city gets from big money. He states that all the citations were issued on false claims. and he admits to threatening my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter. And then came to take my artwork. I have nothing more to say.
Okay. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate your presence, sir.
And I have this flash drive.
Understood. If you wish to submit anything, you can hand it to the clerk. Clerk will.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are all well-versed
Okay.
already.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make comment on our closed session agenda? Anyone online? At this point, what we will do is we will be adjourning into closed session. This is going to take a while today. I do not expect that we will be back here maybe until about 2 o'clock is my best guess. We will not start before 2 o'clock. We could be here starting again after 2 o'clock. At this point, we will adjourn into closed session. The hour of 2 o'clock having arrived and the Santa Cruz City Council having completed its business in closed session, we'll call this meeting to order. The clerk could be kind enough to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero,
Present.
Brunner,
Present.
Newsom,
Present.
Golder. Present. O'Hara. Here. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Present.
Mayor Keeley.
Present, a quorum having been established, we are on item number 7. This is an election of officers of the Industrial Development Authority. There are materials in our packet. This would be the opportunity for anyone who's with us today, either online or in person, who wishes to comment on this item. This would be your opportunity to do so. Let me see if there's anyone with us in chambers. I do not see anyone. Ms. Bush, do we have anyone online on this item?
We do not.
Public comment is closed. Back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Motion?
I would move to elect the officers as written in the minutes.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
The recommendations in the agenda packet are to elect as executive director Mr. Huffaker, the treasurer Ms. Cabell, the chair myself, the vice chair Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson, and the secretary our city clerk Ms. Bush. Is there debate or discussion? Seeing, hearing none, a vote to approve is in order, and the clerk will call the roll.
Director Triguero,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Kalantari Johnson,
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice Chair Golder. We have not adopted this yet, so it's last year's.
This is last year's.
And Chair Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We are on item 8. This is the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 meeting of the Industrial Development Authority. Let me see if there is public comment on this item. This would be your opportunity to do so. Seeing and hearing no one, the matter is back before the body. There's a recommendation for action to adopt minutes. Is there such a motion? Councilmember Triguero, second by Councilmember Brunner. Debate or discussion on the item? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Directors Triguero,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Golder. Aye. O'Hara. Aye. Vice Chair Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
And Chair Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We adjourn the meeting of the Industrial Development Authority, and we are calling to order the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Santa Cruz Public Improvement Financing Corporation. The clerk will call the roll to establish a quorum.
Directors Triguero,
Present.
Brunner,
Present.
Newsom,
Present.
Kalantari Johnson,
Present.
O'Hara.
Here.
Vice President Golder. Here. And President Keeley.
Let me hear that again. Oh, President Keeley, yes, thank you very much. Present. A quorum having been established, we will move to item 9, which is the election of the officers of the Santa Cruz Public Improvement Financing Corporation. Let me ask if there are public comment on this item. Anyone online, Ms. Bush? Seeing near none, the matter is back before the body. The motion is to elect officers as presented in the packet. Councilmember Newsom moves and Councilmember Golder Director Newsom moves and Director Golder seconds. The recommendation in the packet, is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll on the motion.
Director Triguero,
Aye.
Bruner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Kalentari Johnson,
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice President Golder
Aye.
and President Keeley.
Aye. Motion carries and so ordered. On item 10, these are the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 meeting of the Santa Cruz Public Improvement Financing Corporation. I am opening the floor for comments by members of the public, either who are with us today or online. Do we have anyone online?
No.
Matters back before the body. The motion would be to approve the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 meeting. The Vice Mayor moves.
Second.
Councilmember Triguero, excuse me, I did not see that. I just didn't hear it. Who's second? Councilmember O'Hara seconds. Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Director Triguero,
Aye.
Bruner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Golder,
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice President Kalentari Johnson.
Aye.
And President Keeley.
Aye. We will now adjourn the meeting of the Santa Cruz Public Improvement Finance Corporation, and we are going to resume our work as the Santa Cruz City Council in order to establish a quorum. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero,
Present.
Bruner,
Present.
Newsom,
Present.
Golder,
Aye.
O'Hara. Here. Vice Mayor Kalentari Johnson. We got it. Same meaning.
Present.
Synonym. And Mayor Keeley.
Present. A quorum having been established. This is the opportunity for anyone to address us or under oral communication. The concept here is anything under our jurisdiction but not on today's agenda for a period of time not to exceed 2 minutes. In the event that we have folks who are with us as well as folks who are online, we will toggle back and forth. Let's begin with the first person who is with us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Spatafor. I've been here several times to talk about the Murray Street Bridge project that you guys have 15 to 20 guys working on every day. You guys, they're only required to work on Saturdays if they're behind. I mean, there is no sense of urgency on this project. There was no sense of urgency when you agreed to the project. I can't believe this project is going to take so long. So this is where I'm at. I haven't paid myself all year long. I haven't paid my wife all year long. I'm 2 months late on my rent. I've been in this business for 33 years. I have people say, boy, this is a learning experience for us. I have people say, oh, you know, we'll look at your data and tell you how you're doing. I know how my data is doing. I can't believe people on this staff say these things to us. We're all suffering. If you guys have been down there, did any of you come to Boots and Brews? Have any of you been down there on a Saturday or a Sunday and seen how few people are down there? There were at 2 o'clock on this past Sunday, there were 4 people in Betty Burgers. There was 5 people at Seabright Deli. I mean, there were 4 people in my coffee shop. Last Tuesday and Wednesday, both stores on either side of the harbor did my worst days since COVID. Today at Seabright, I'm at like $500 in sales and I have $300 in labor. And I have to listen to you guys not even respond to me when I send emails out to whether it's the city manager or all you guys. I copy all of you. And you don't believe what we're going through? I mean, this is just, I'm loose. I've had hundreds of kids work for me. I've worked my ass off. I've helped kids get through school. And this is what's happening now. You guys aren't listening to us. You don't care. You don't give a shit. I mean, to have the Public Works tell me there's 52,000 hours of labor going on, there's not. Go look. The same guys that sweep it up build the columns. There's the same guys driving the columns into the dirt. They're the same guys building scaffolding. It's the same 15 guys. I don't want to be told again that there's all these guys down there. I've never seen any of you. I'm down there every day for about 20 minutes. I've never seen any of you people down there. I've never seen anybody from Public Works down there. I've never seen more than 25 people, and the only reason there were 25 people is because it was the guys working on the docks. I'm done. I know my time's up.
Next Do we have someone online? We'll take the person online. Good afternoon and welcome. 3,
Every mother's worst nightmare is that her daughter will be sexually assaulted. I am scared for my child every day she goes to work at the library, now that this has happened several times at various libraries in Santa Cruz. The public library has always been a special place for my family and me. I took my children to the library every week from the time they were toddlers. I was proud when my daughter became a library worker, but now with all that's happening, I realize the library is no longer as safe as it once was. The worst part is library workers have no support. After being sexually assaulted, if they go home, they'll get that day's pay docked. That someone who's been attacked can't go home to their husbands and families for comfort and support without losing part of that day's pay? That's reprehensible on the part of the city. Plus, with everything costing so much and not being paid that well to start with, to have to choose between their paycheck and their mental health, it's just horrendous that these women have to make that choice. They are victims who continue to be victimized by their employers. I think it's simply unconscionable that there has been such a lack of action on the part of the city to disregard the safety of their employees and then refuse to help them when they've been accosted on the job. Why isn't there better security in the libraries so that these attacks don't occur to start with? In addition to city-trained security guards, what about social workers being on hand, not only for victimized and at-risk library workers, but especially for patrons who spend full days at the library with nowhere else to go, or those demonstrating questionable behavior? Library workers help people. Why can't the city help them? I support not only the library workers, but all SEIU workers in their fight for safe working conditions and livable wages. Why can't the city do the same?
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is John Roskilly. I'm your ranger in limbo. As some of you may remember, I have a investigation going on about bullying in the workplace that resulted in me going to the hospital. But that's not the issue I'm here for today. I talked to a woman who actually was interviewed by the investigator, and she said that not only did the chief ranger try to manipulate her testimony and tell her what she was supposed to say, but when she didn't agree with it, she was fired the next day after the interview. Now you tell me how that doesn't smack of you know, I don't know, I forgot the word right now, but you tell me how it doesn't smack of reprisal and how it doesn't smack of forcing her to do what she needs to do. And she's paid the price. Now, the timing was bad. Maybe there is a legitimate reason for her being fired. But if there was or there wasn't, think about everybody else who still has to do an interview. They say, okay, she did the interview and she got fired. That intimidates anybody else who's going to do the interviews with the investigator. I stepped forward to try to make my fellow employees' workplace a safer, better workplace for them, not to put them in the firing line. One of the other fellow employees told me that she was told to just keep her mouth shut and keep her head down. I tell you that right now today, knowing that it will probably come back to her and she will probably end up getting fired as well. You guys need to step up to the plate and do what's right by your employees. Obviously, the union's ready to strike for very similar issues. I've been out of work now since August 1st of last year. You want to count months? That's 13 months or 15 months. Not one single paycheck. Nothing has been resolved. This is a pretty clear-cut case. It's not only the chief ranger who's at fault here, but also mid-level management is colluding in it too. I've had the same problems with them. This isn't something that started when I was employed there. This happened well before. So clearly the chief rangers have been able to get away with it and mid-managers are covering it up. But let's get it resolved and let's not cost ourselves any more employees. This was terribly unfair to the employee who got fired and it smacks of intimidation. And that's the way the chief ranger runs the department up there. So let's do right by your employees. I'm sure there's a lot of other people who are going to ask for the very same thing. Have a good day, my friends.
Thank you, sir. Anyone online? We'll take next person online. Good afternoon.
What happened? Hey, it's Brad Snyder. How you doing, Fred and City Council? Wanted to say something about the library complaint that someone had prior, and I agree that it's almost as if you should build a library for homeless people instead of pickleball courts. So the homelessness rate in California being precipitously high, it's actually only ranked about like 7th, or it's on the list of the highest rates of homelessness per capita in the United States. But one thing that correlates with the higher ranking of California is property values and the cost of building a new home. I've complained many times about very expensive units in downtown Santa Cruz. And I think you're kind of painting yourself in a corner by assuming that more is better by giving people expensive units for free, as opposed to making them all entirely affordable. Now, how do you do that? Well, one suggestion that a current governor's candidate has is $3 gas in the state of California. To build a new home in California is almost twice twice the average. The only state that comes anywhere near it is Hawaii, for obvious reasons. And being homeless in Hawaii is kind of like not working at 7-Eleven but covering a shift. You know what I mean? Anyway, just to point out that Mississippi has the lowest per capita rate of homelessness in the entire United States. And if you actually combine the land area of about 14 states that have the lowest homelessness per capita rates, you'll find that they have a land area which is about 4.5 times the state of California. Thanks.
Afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and I'm kind of sad that I have to be here again. I'm here today because we are heading towards a strike presently. If you all didn't want to be there, Tim Davis should have picked a different course. Instead of saying this is our last best final on your behalf, he should have said, we'll come back and talk to you next week. So that's how we actually got to this point. The reality is, even if you do offer more money, there was no movement on our safety until the Sentinel article came out. An embarrassment to all those involved, particularly City Council and the Joint Powers Authority for the libraries. So what I'm hoping is that you not only vote for more money for us, but actually direct HR to continue honestly towards settling the safety issues at the library and for us in general. I'm sure Matt could talk to that about that to you, as I believe he's on the board presently, and I'll be talking to them later next week. So they seem to think, according to the director, that it's your all's ball game as far as safety goes for the employees. So please make some movement in there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have anyone else online, Ms. Bush? We'll take the next person online. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Thank you. I am here to talk about the situation at the libraries as well. I have a loved one that works at the library, and frankly, I think it's somewhat appalling the lack of support they get, both from mental health as well as physical health aspects. There should be caring, and there should be social workers helping them. There should be excess security, not excess, but additional security. And they also should not be required to on their own pay time if they need to leave because of a situation that occurs at the library. They need to leave and go home, and then it's on their dock pay. I mean, that is frankly somewhat outrageous. Not somewhat outrageous, it is outrageous. And I would hope that you folks, as these are city employees, and I'm sure you care highly about your city employees, would do much to help them out. Also, you know, as we all know, there's a bargaining going on, and I would hope too that the council would take due consideration of the wages that should be, the fair wages that should be paid to city employees, but especially, again, as to library employees. That's what I'm most aware of and close to. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone with us in council chambers wish to make comments under oral communication? This will be your opportunity to do so. Good afternoon. Welcome. Good afternoon.
I'm Renee. I work at the library, and I have worked at the library for 36 and a half years. And I no longer work on the public desk. I work in CMS, collection management services, everything behind the scenes. And I have to tell you, with everything that I hear from everybody and all of the reports or emails we get about the times we're calling the cops and the assaults on library personnel, if I was still working the desk, I would not be here anymore. I would not be a city employee because I don't think I could put up with it. I'm getting old, I'm getting set in my ways, and I would not like people spitting in my face and shoving me and giving me death threats on a regular basis. But not only do we need safety for the library people, we need safety for all of the city employees. As things continue to get worse economically and socially here in California, I mean, our parking attendants are getting chased and they're being threatened. We have people who go down into wells and they're cleaning out dead animals. I mean, there's safety issues throughout the city that need to be looked at, and hazard pay for everyone who's doing a job that could affect their health. And the pay, I mean, like I said, I've been working here 36 and a half years, and just recently, I have gotten back to the pay level I was when we got the recession in 2007, 2008, and we went on a furlough and everything, and I've just 2 years ago got back to where I was back then. We need more pay.
Let me see if there's anyone else online. Ms. Bush, we do have someone online. Person online, good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Hello, my name is Shiloh Sachs. I'm a business owner in Santa Cruz County. I'd like to speak to my disappointment with the way the library workers are being treated, and I fully support the union and their ability to strike. I think it's very disappointing that the public sector is not taking responsibility to let their employees go home early when they're being insulted by their patrons. And I think it's very disrespectful that the county is not addressing the library's lack of safety. Keep this short and sweet. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Anyone with us in council chambers? Anyone else online, Ms. Bush? We'll take the next person online. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here because my loved one is a library worker, and I want to echo what so many people have said on this meeting today. I'm extremely concerned about the lack of support that library workers are getting from the city. It's absolutely reprehensible that workers are required to take accrued sick time if they need to go home after being assaulted at work. I'm horrified at the city's inaction on this. And of course, at the absolute minimum, workers need to go home with pay after they're assaulted. And I don't know why this is even an issue that we're having to discuss today. More generally, why is the city not concerned with both worker and patron safety? For such an important public resource like the library, there should be social workers on staff to support both workers and folks visiting the library, which I know people have said on this call already today. And yeah, SEIU workers need to be paid a living wage, and I fully support their efforts to do so. And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone in chambers? Anyone online, Ms. Bush? We are finished with oral communication. I am going to now move to, we're going to return to item 11 in a couple of moments. Let's do presiding officer announcements. Let me see if the chief is here. Is Chief here? Okay, we're going to go back then to, we'll take up item 11 if somebody would alert the chief that we're going to do, make a recognition. Jack Bassett, when we have.
I believe the chief is walking in as we
We'll stay with
right
this.
on cue.
Chief, welcome. I know we are on presiding officer announcements, and the reason we're doing this a little differently today is because Chief, welcome, sir. Come on up. Jack Bassett was a police chief here in the city of Santa Cruz for a number of years, and is considered, for those who worked with him, a really lovely human being and quite a good police chief for our community. And Jack passed away not too long ago, and you know, you see Jack's picture there. He's just a really wonderful human being. And we lowered the flags for a few days for that purpose, and I wanted to give Chief Escalante an opportunity to recognize and remember the chief. So, Chief, thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Bernie Escalante, the Chief of Police. Just wanted to express my gratitude for you taking a moment to honor Jack's service. Jack started his career in Santa Ana Police Department in 1965 after serving 4 years in the U.S. Air Force. He left as a lieutenant in 1982 and was hired by former city manager Dick Wilson as the next police chief for the city of Santa Cruz. Jack served as the city of Santa Cruz's police chief for 12 years, ultimately retiring in 1994. He was widely respected for his steady leadership, his unwavering sense of fairness. He guided the city through many challenging times with compassion and strength, and most notably, I think that picture was right after the earthquake in 1989. With his calm presence and clear judgment, provided reassurance to the entire community during this difficult time. Those that knew Jack will remember his kindness, quiet but strategic strength, and genuine warmth. He had a gift for bringing people together, which I think many people saw him do this during the challenging times, and a deep sense of gratitude for the simple pleasures in life, like family, friendship, laughter, and a good round of golf. He was a mentor to many of us in the profession. Some are here today in the audience. He will be deeply missed and forever remembered. He was survived by his wife, Joanne, his brother, his daughter, several grandchildren, as well as several great-grandchildren. So thank you for taking a moment and honoring him.
Sir,
appreciate it.
Chief, thank you. Thank you very, very much. If there are others here who are here, if you would, remembering Jack, if you would raise your hand for your, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Jack is a wonderful person. Thanks, Chief, very, very much. We are on item 11, Save the Waves. Sean Burns, Save the Waves Reserve Network Coordinator. Is he here? Don't see him. We're going to move on. May have to come back to this at 2:40. Looks like he maybe was going to be here at a different time. Statement of disqualifications. Any member have a statement of disqualification on either the consent or regular agenda? Seeing and hearing none. Additions or deletions. We do have a deletion, if I am correct, and that is item
30, the
Item 30.
Midtown Santa Cruz Business Improvement District. It is continued to a date to be determined.
To be determined. If you were either online or here in person on item 30, the Business Improvement District in Midtown, that is not being heard today. We will have that at a future meeting. Madam Vice Mayor? Good, thank you, thank you. Save the Waves, come on up. Here we go. You're probably out surfing or something, right? There we go.
Yeah.
Except for a wave.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's no waves today, so I don't have any excuses.
It is wonderful to have you here, and thank you for your good work. You know that we are an ocean-based community, and we love every one of our nonprofits who help us in that regard, making Santa Cruz, no matter what the hell Huntington Beach says, or any of these other beach towns, we are the surf capital of the world. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We have a short 1-minute video to play that
Great.
summarizes the project a little
Save
bit
the
that we're
Waves
talking about today.
and our local partners just launched a first-of-its-kind study supported by the Ocean Protection Council to paint a really detailed picture of the surf economy in Santa Cruz. We have a much better understanding now of the economics of surfing in Santa Cruz. But more importantly, we have a blueprint for how to bring this statewide. Surf ecosystems need to be embedded in the policy process. And if they don't have status, if they're not recognized, we are losing out on the natural capital that we have.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Save the Waves and our
Yeah, that's Nick Strong-Savage, the CEO of Save the Waves in the video. And we also have another 5-minute or so longer video that I encourage you to watch. We have it on our YouTube. That gets into a little bit more detail, but yeah, excited to be here today. Thank you for the time. I know you guys all address a lot of really important issues in Santa Cruz. And as you mentioned, Mayor Keeley, surfing and the coast, you know, we're a coastal, community here that base a lot of our livelihoods off of. And so first off, I just want to say thank you for having me here today. Mayor Keeley, council members, appreciate the time. I know you're all very busy people with important matters at hand. First off, I want to say thank you for the city of Santa Cruz also for helping support this project. This was a Ocean Protection Council funded grant project with our partners, Integral Consulting and Black Surf Santa Cruz. And one quick note before I get into the presentation, this project was pretty awkward for a lot of us surfers because surfing is a pretty priceless act. And I'm sure all of you have been in the water here in Santa Cruz. We're very lucky to have a thriving ecosystem, a healthy ocean, and we also have world-class waves here in Santa Cruz that are unique to around the world. So when we ask people what's the value of a wave, and especially to me personally, trying to find what the value of a wave is, it was kind of awkward feeling because the ocean is such a healing place. We don't want to put a value to it. It's priceless. But thank you very much for having me here today to present on the findings of this project. So last 2 years, we've been working on this. Let's see. Next arrow. There we go. Okay. So this is just a little precursor to the project. This has some numbers pre-COVID of the surf economy internationally. So as you can see, almost 65 billion surf tourism expenditure. And so worldwide surfonomics. And so this project in Santa Cruz is surfonomics at a Santa Cruz scale. Santa Cruz dates back to 1885 with the first documented surf session in North America. Surfing is California's state sport, 800 miles of coastline, 300 surf breaks in California. So a lot of opportunity statewide, but also here in Santa Cruz, very culturally important to us. Where this project took place, the Santa Cruz World Surfing Reserve, dedicated in 2012. So we categorized the surf breaks into 3 different zones: West Side, Midtown, East Side. You can see on the West Side and almost half of the Midtown surf breaks are located in the city of Santa Cruz. So 30 out of 31 surf breaks on about this 8-mile span is really unique. There's so many surf breaks. They're all unique. They're world-class steamer lane, Pleasure Point, beginners at Cowles and 38th. So there's this wide range. And so we assessed 31 surf breaks in this project. And yeah, about half of them are in the city limits. In the sake of time, I'll just kind of glance through the project objectives. As you saw in the video, we wanted to quantify the surf economy. We wanted to assess the vulnerability of Santa Cruz surf spots, talking about the surfability that I'll get into here in a sec. wanted to better understand the economic barriers to surfing and who's not a part of the surf community here in Santa Cruz. And the reason why I'm here today for this project is to help policy and inform strategy toward coastal planning. So a little bit about the Santa Cruz surf economy that you saw in the video. 783,000 surf visits per year. Pretty amazing. But I hope these numbers aren't too shocking to you, because they weren't that shocking to me, because I knew it was going to be a huge amount of people coming here for surfing. We got, their average amount, what they're spending when they come here was around $56. So those visitors, was around 50 million, 44.5 annually in Santa Cruz, and then 150 million general spending on services such as equipment, surf lessons, and things like that. So that total 194.7 million per year. Pretty awesome. The table on the bottom right gets into a little bit of what that economic loss can be with sea level rise and as surfability diminishes here in Santa Cruz, which I'll get into. This slide has a lot of information on it, so sorry. Pretty much what it's saying is it's confirming what I've always been told here in Santa Cruz, that the waves were a lot better before. As a kid growing up here in Santa Cruz, all the older guys always roused you, say, waves used to be so much better in Santa Cruz. But looking into a sea level rise and the amount of surfability, it kind of goes to show that there's less surfable time as sea level rises. So as you can see, with 1 feet of sea level rise, only 7 surf breaks are surfable, more than half of daylight hours. And those surf breaks diminish as you get into more feet of sea level rise. Present day surfability, I think this was one of my favorite parts of the project. It was really what made it come to life, made it really authentic to Santa Cruz, and working with local surf condition experts, people that you might recognize like Peter Mell, Tyler Fox, Sean Dollar, Frosty. We really got their input on the ideal tide. And so that's how we're able to find that surfability, is we got an ideal tide for each one of the 31 surf spots. Each one of these 31 surf spots are so unique. So we needed local surf condition experts from the west side, from the midtown, from the east side, and worked with them all on what the ideal tide is. And then you overlay that with projections for sea level rise, and you get that surfability. We also worked with BIPOC focus groups with Black Surf Santa Cruz, and they're able to look at what are the economic barriers, what are the accessibility issues, community representation, making sure all voices of the surf community are heard here on this project and also going forward. I know I might not have too much time left, but let's see.
Don't you worry. You're doing fine. You take such time. You're doing fine.
I'll run through. So yeah, just a little bit of the recap. Surfability of waves are diminishing here in Santa Cruz with sea level rise. 1 foot up to 5 foot of sea level rise is what we did into this study. Surfing contributes 194.7 million annually. It's a big number, and we're very proud of that here in Santa Cruz. The goal with this project is to also take it statewide and to do a surfonomics study in a lot of key areas. Surf, like Huntington Beach, Surf City, USA. I'll put it in parentheses, but. And then also, so using Santa Cruz as a model for this. So here today, presenting in front of you, City Council, a few considerations and recommendations. You can also, the study is pretty extensive. It's a 90-page report. I encourage you to go check it out and look at the methodology and our other recommendations. But we have a few planning considerations, prioritizing surf breaks in coastal planning and permitting. You see with the numbers, the visitation. Surfing is not just a hobby that we do here in Santa Cruz. It has value economically and culturally here in Santa Cruz, and it needs to be prioritized into planning right now and into the future. One recommended action, Save the Waves submitted comments to the local coastal plan back in February of 2024 to add in surf language and characterize each surf break in Santa Cruz. So that's a great first step. We want to work with you guys on prioritizing surfing, prioritizing access to the ocean, because like you said, Mayor Keeley, this is a coastal community. And as you saw through the numbers through this report, there is a lot of economic value through surfing in Santa Cruz. And if you want to look at the full report, I also have some handouts, but SaveTheWaves.org has a full 90-page report. I thank you very much for letting me be here today, and thank you very much. I can answer a few questions if there's any.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Let me see if there are questions among my colleagues. Start with Councilmember Brunner.
Thank you. It's nice to see you here and to receive this information. And I've been hearing about the study, so and I haven't read the full report yet. So thanks for the overview and the information. I serve as one of the City of Santa Cruz seats on Visit Santa Cruz County Board. And I'm wondering if you've had any connection with Visit Santa Cruz in terms of the data in this report and visitors and the economic impact. And if not, I'd love to make that connection. So that was one question.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love that connection. I've worked with him on a few other various jobs, not specifically this project. I know through like cell phone tracking using visitation, that's how they're, able to work on the amount of people visiting Santa Cruz. And there's a little bit more methodology on how we worked with that. Integral worked with the county as well, but Visit Santa Cruz County, we didn't work with them on this project at all. And, with nonprofits and Save the Waves, haven't worked with them specifically, no.
Thank you. And my second, I think more of a comment, when I was mayor, I was able to introduce Black Surf Santa Cruz with your organization, and I'm just really happy to see that integrated into the work and going forward. And I think it's really important that this work is expanded to include all of our community. So thank you.
Thank you. We're very, very fortunate and happy to be working with them on this project.
Other questions, other comments? Anyone? Councilmember O'Hara.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share my appreciation as well. Save the Waves was really integral for many, many years in our Cal working group as well, a decade ago. And as we think about sea level rise, it's also, your nonprofit's commitment to problem solving, whatever it might be, is evident in the work that you bring forward today, but just generally the work that you do across the whole region. So I really appreciate it. I did want to make one small comment. If we have 31 surf breaks between west side to east side of Midtown, and there's 300 across California, it seems like our concentration is exceptionally high.
Totally.
Yeah, so us using us as the blueprint for the rest of the state makes a lot of sense. So I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for the comments. Yeah, it is very high concentration of surf breaks here, like just to reiterate that. And 300 of those breaks, those are named. So all us surfers have our secret spots, but it is very unique to Santa Cruz having that many surf spots.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Golder.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing the full report and your analysis of it here to us today. As we are moving forward with our local coastal plan and all of that, I think naming the surf spots in our beaches and bluff chapters and other chapters is a next step and an outcome the Vice Mayor and I hope to see come out of this after working with you. And when we're also looking at, I don't know how to say, I guess, looking at reconstructing roads like West Cliff or the Wharf or protection of other city assets, if we're looking at some of the nature-based solutions, including artificial reefs and things that could also add to increased surf access or creative ways to add more sand at certain spots to create more coastal access moving forward. And so it's not a net loss, but it could even possibly be a net gain through some creative engineering, if that makes sense. And so that's what I hope will kind of come out of this too, moving forward into decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions, comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your good work. Thank you for the recommendations. We will take those all under considerations. Much of what you're talking about, the combination of our long-term planning world in the planning department and our climate action work under Dr. Tiffany Wise-West, those come together, and I know you know this, but the incredibly concentrated talent of marine research institutes, starting at Long Marine Lab and going Long Marine Lab, Moss Landing Marine Lab, Hopkins Marine Station, MBARI, the aquarium itself, et cetera. You are also in the midst of people who think like you and have tremendous amount of scientific knowledge and foresight, and I know you'll work closely with them as well. So thank you for everything. Thanks to Save the Waves. Good work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
We're excited to work with you guys.
Very good. We have already gone through statements of disqualification. I just want to make sure I do it again. On regular consent, seeing and hearing none. We've also covered additions and deletions. We're going to go to the city attorney's report out from our closed session earlier today. Mr. Condati.
Good afternoon, Mayor Keeley and members of the City Council. City Council conducted a marathon closed session this morning starting at 10:30 a.m. And during the course of that closed session, considered the following items. Item 1 was a conference with legal counsel concerning liability claims. Those are the claims of Elizabeth Martinez, Damian Joseph Galprin Gibson, Peter Bichier, and Installed Building Products. Those are also listed this afternoon on your consent calendar as agenda item number 17. Item 2 was real property negotiations. The council met with its negotiator and discussed 3 real property items. First was the real property at 1520 K2 Pacific Avenue. Negotiating parties, the city and Crepe Cones LLC. Item 2 was the real property at 1330 and 1344 Pacific Avenue. Negotiating parties, the city and Palomar Associates. Item 3 was the real property at 57 Municipal Wharf. Negotiating parties, city and Genesis Peck, also known as Made in Santa Cruz. Item 3 was a conference with legal counsel concerning anticipated litigation. The council received a report from and gave direction to City Attorney's Office on one item of significant exposure to litigation. Item 4 was existing litigation, and that is the case entitled Capaldo and DeCock versus the City of Santa Cruz, currently pending in the Santa Cruz County Superior Court. Item 5 was a conference with labor negotiations concerning all negotiating groups, SEIU temps, SEIU service employees, bid managers OE3, supervisors OE3, fire management, fire IAFF, police management, Police Officers Association, and executives. Council received a report from and gave direction to its negotiators on that item. Item 6 was a public employment matter involving the city attorney. As you know, earlier this year, I informed the City Council of my intention to retire as your city attorney at the end of this year. And I am thrilled to report today that this afternoon in closed session, the council unanimously approved the appointment of Cassie Bronson to serve as my successor. Cassie is here along with most of the people from my office. And I'm confident that I will be leaving the city attorney office in good hands, and you've made a great selection. And I want to congratulate Cassie and also express my gratitude to the city council for having me as your city attorney the past 10 plus years, which has been really an honor and a privilege to serve this city, particularly the city that I've lived in and raised my family in. And my wife is also here. We are really happy that we'll be continuing our relationship with the city of Santa Cruz, although I will be in a different capacity going forward. So thank you all very much.
Well, Mr. Condotti, we will have more opportunities to more fully thank you. We will have more opportunities to say welcome to Ms. Bronson. And I think the way this has been discussed and thought through is very careful, very thorough. We think the world of both of you. Thank you very much for that report. And we will see both of you as time moves on here for more formal thank you and welcome.
And I should have mentioned, and forgot to do so, but that will be effective as of January 1st of 2026.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, back to work, city attorneys. Thank you all very, very much. You do a great job for us. Thank you. We are on the consent agenda. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with the consent agenda, we will be taking up items 13 through 27 inclusive on one motion. Now, what I'm going to do is give an opportunity for council members who may wish to comment on an item, pull an item, or make comment on an item. I will then give that same opportunity to members of the public who are with us today, as well as folks who are online. I'm going to start with my immediate right here, which is Mr. Newsom on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a quick comment on item 22.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Just really happy to see this on our agenda, combined with the new playground equipment at Poets Park that was approved as part of our upcoming fiscal year budget. This item will help improve playgrounds and childcare areas in the Beach Flats area through renovating the Tot Lot Playground at Beach Flats Park. So really excited to see this on our agenda, and want to thank Planner Downing and Director Elliott for bringing this forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Bruner on the consent
No
agenda.
comments.
Councilmember Triguero on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a comment on item 15, 16, and 22.
Please proceed on those.
On 15, the resolution strengthening local worker and resident preferences, I had the honor of working alongside Councilmember O'Hara and with you, Mayor, and with community leaders who had already put in quite a bit of time and thought about this. And so I am very happy to have worked on this resolution, to have deepened my understanding, and to bring this forward, which I hope will reinforce our local workers staying in Santa Cruz. On item 16, the Ocean Beautification Project, I want to thank staff and especially David McCormick for your continual work on this. This is in my district. This is the entryway to Santa Cruz for most people coming off Highway 17. So I look forward to the art. I look forward to the renaissance of that space, and I'm sure all the uptown businesses are excited for this new development and for the construction plans to start. On item 22, I'd like to echo my colleague, Councilmember Newsom, on his comments. This is one of the childhood playgrounds that my son played at in the Beach Flats in his young days. And I am so elated to see that this is happening and that that structure will be improved for the community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Questions and comments on items 16 and 20. More comments. So item 16 is the Ocean Street beautification. It's really wonderful to see this come to fruition. I'm hoping that we can also do the same on the north side of town. I'm looking at our city manager to have a welcoming space and welcoming structures on both the north side and the ocean side. I know that we have Caltrans to facilitate with, but I'm hoping that this can initiate a conversation on having some welcoming, you know what I'm trying to say.
Entryway.
Entryway,
Gateway.
thank you.
Yes.
And yes, gateway.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment. Definitely something we'd be interested in exploring further.
Okay,
So,
great.
thank
Well,
you.
I'll follow up. And then item 20, which is the Delaware pickleball courts. More of a comment, just really happy to see the thoughtful process that the city team went through. I know there's the pickleball community and there's the tennis player communities, and sometimes they have differing needs, and it seems like we landed in a place where tennis courts will be preserved or put back in certain parts of the city, and then we'll have new pickleballs. I guess the question, I don't know if anyone's here, and I can follow up directly with staff after, is that those tennis player communities that have reached out, are they aware that the tennis courts that have been converted
either temporarily or permanently to pickleball will be reconverted to tennis courts.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Noah Downing, Parks and Rec. So yeah, some of them are aware. There will be more of a thorough noticing.
Okay.
And we do have some time before the court conversion. It'd be early next summer.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Hara is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just short comments on item 15. Want to express my appreciation to Councilmember Triguero for helping to put this together, and honestly to the mayor for probably decades of work to advance the investment in workforce and affordable housing. I really think we sit at a crossroads right now as we see affordable housing getting built all across the city, as we sit with that and grapple with who can stay in our community. I've raised 3 daughters here. One of them just came by on her way back down to Southern California. They're mostly all grown. If I was raising young families like I was 15 years ago today, there's no way I'd be able to live in this community. And I think that is true across the board for those that are essential workers, those are service workers, our neighbors, our childcare workers. So I really appreciate the work of my colleagues, the leadership of our mayor. As we think about what this next couple weeks looks like, I would encourage everybody to think about how do we do this in a way that we can keep our community together and connected. And so really want to just express that. Know this is, we will be coming back with the substance of this, which will require an ordinance and some further policy, but this puts us in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Golder.
I don't really have anything to add, but I align myself with the vice mayor's comments.
Thank you. This will be the opportunity for anyone to comment on the consent agenda. You can comment on any number of items you want. You'll have 3 minutes total on that. So here we go. Mr. Van Allen, welcome back to the council chambers. Thank you for your service as a council member for so many years, and thank you for all your good work in the community, sir.
So many years ago.
Well, and that too.
Thank you, Mayor Keeley and council members. I want to appreciate your consideration of item 15 today. Working people of Santa Cruz are being displaced at damaging rate. It's damaging to their families and damaging to our community fabric. Squeezed between low wages and rapidly rising rents and prices, the choice is to give up their local jobs and hope for work somewhere else, or to keep their jobs and commute longer and longer distances from cheaper housing. We look to our city government. I'm pleased to say that the action before the council today is a significant step forward in the city's response to the housing crisis. By focusing more attention on how to ensure local benefits from affordable housing, by adding preferences for local workers in eligibility for affordable housing, and most importantly, by implementing a comprehensive mechanism to continuously verify, track, and report out to the community on the achievement of local preferences. That last point is what I consider the key to real progress. We want to maximize the benefits of affordable housing for local people. A basic facet of trying to improve something is having a way to measure outcomes. The tracking system included in the council action before you provides the clarity that we need and to really know how we're doing. We want to see those numbers go up, but if we don't have numbers, we won't. I urge your yes vote on this resolution. It's taken several months of work to get to this point, and I'm grateful for all involved facing the problem and finding the path to solving it. From the community, leaders such as Jillian Greensight, former council member Sandy Brown, Rick Longinati, Lyra Filippini, John Hall, and many others researched practices in other communities and grappled with formulating a proposal that could be suited to our town. And it turned out that others in the community felt the same way. They wanted that kind of progress too. So we are very grateful to council members O'Hara and Triguero, who responded with enthusiasm when we offered an idea, and they went to work and turned our proposal into the significant action before you today. I've been touched by the willingness of everyone involved to see beyond past differences and find common ground on such an important thing. I have to say the key player from my standpoint is Mayor Fred Keeley. Mayor Keeley showed the kind of leadership that we want from a mayor. He listened, he challenged, he showed up to be grilled at a public forum we staged. He asked the kind of questions the leader of city government should ask. How do we turn a challenging but good idea into concrete city policies and practices? We did our homework. He listened and challenged more. Sometimes gave ground when he acknowledged we were right. And sometimes he reminded us of what can loosely be called political reality when we needed that. Thank you, Fred. If I could have a couple more seconds, I'll finish my whole statement.
Such time as you need. You're doing just fine on this part.
President Keeley.
Don't encourage it.
Anyway, Fred Keeley's contributions to our community are manifold. This isn't as flashy as protecting California's coastal marine life, but in my book, watching an effective mayor get things to happen for their community ranks among what I admire the most as a political practitioner. Working people of Santa Cruz may not be tuned in to today's meeting because they're at work, but thanks to Mayor Keeley, city council members, and some dedicated community members, our city will do better on their behalf if we pass this action today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce, very, very much. That's very kind of you. Welcome. Good afternoon, sir.
I'm Mayor Keeley and council members. I'm Russell Boucher, a longtime local artist, and I served on the steering committee for Open Studio. And by the way, Open Studio was dynamite this year. Good sign for our community. A lot of people showed up. I've talked to other artists, a lot of buyers, so things look good. And why am I here? I think I'm here for comic relief, actually. I want to present Mayor Keeley with I call it a political sculpture. Okay. And let me just show the room for a minute. And I'm wondering, can this be passed along to Mayor Keeley, if possible?
Well, it can be passed around the dais, yes, and thank you for that.
There we go. And I won't take long. I'll just say that I really support Measure C, especially to the extent that it puts into place specific mechanisms for seeing that the city and property managers truly follow the guidelines for local preference, not just for those who live here, but for those who work here. Every time I'm in that, that southbound one that we get caught in, I think about that. So I appreciate your attention to that. I know it's a divisive issue among the progressive community. I would just say that if all these supposed loopholes were taken out, then those who will profit by those loopholes will make sure that it never passes. So thank you.
Russell, thank you. For those who are not aware, Russell's a very talented person. What he is showing here, he has also done in a die cut that fits into an envelope that he is sharing around the community. Thank you for sharing your talents in that regard. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Keeley and council members. I'm John Hall. I really think that Russ Boucher should be appointed political artist in residence for the city. He's done amazing work over a very long time. Everything I would say has already been said by Bruce and by Russ, but I do think, I'm going to say it again just to emphasize that I think that I really appreciate Councilmember O'Hara and Triguero's work and Fred Keeley's work, Mayor Keeley's work on this. I think the cooperation that I've seen of you all with members of the community in developing a solution that addresses a serious problem is a model that I hope the city, the council members, city staff, and the community will follow in the future, because it seems to me that this has turned out very well as a piece of legislation. And that's the second point, is this is so important in terms of the trust that we can have that our government is doing things to promote the city in a way that solves problems, and not only does that, but does it with a transparency so that people can be assured that the money that we're paying in taxes goes for what it's supposed to go for. And so I encourage you to pass this. I hope that the city staff will see that this is the beginning of more affordable housing being done for the city, which means developing some sort of internet portal or something that is highly efficient for property managers so that they can get the information out in an efficient way without being a burden to them. So I encourage you to pass this measure, and I really thank you all for your work.
Thank you for your involvement, John Hall. What we're going to do is we're going to now have folks online. We'll toggle back and forth. We'll take the first person online on this item. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Hello again. Thank you, Fred. It's Bradley Snyder. I think probably the most prominent items on the consent agenda that I'm concerned about are the affordability and the preferences for the local workers and the pickleball courts. Now, the pickleball courts, I've said my my piece on pickleball being a synthetic kind of a sport that we're supposed to like because it's the fastest growing sport in I don't know the state, I don't know the country, the world, but in any way, at any rate, yeah, I think like a warming center, that particular location happens to be somewhere. I lived right across Antonelli Pond from there at the apartments, and I looked out over it, and luckily I got out before they built that enormously tall hotel across from. Would have probably not enjoyed watching that get constructed. But as far as affordability in California and low wages, too low wages, one thing you have to realize about the seemingly high minimum wage in California, it's price purchasing parity in California is terrible. So what you essentially have is an $11 minimum wage. A lot of people and change, per hour, if you look at how much it costs to live in California. So, part of that, is back to what I said earlier about the unaffordability of some of the units that are being built. But as far as, libraries being a place where homeless people gravitate to, they're dry, kind of by default, because there's a lot of hygroscopic books, printed media that, they're just going to stay dry. They're climate controlled. They're paid for by public funds. So necessarily people have access to them, whether they're, schizophrenic, drug addicted, homeless person or not. Really you have to kind of face reality. There really should be something akin to the Warming Center program, which, is supported by a lot of Democrats of Santa Cruz, I believe, on board with Brent Adams and Stacy. That program, I believe, is going to be in effect this winter, hopefully, because, in some cases, the shelter that the city pays so much for is going to be inadequate. I want to talk a little bit about naming one of the surf breaks Midtown, because I feel that would be really ironic. Fractals were developed because they studied the number of, if you measured at different scales, you find that, that the coastline of Britain is longer. The resolution, well, similar to surf breaks. There are millions of surf breaks in California. Thanks. Bye.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting.
Very much, Mayor and council members and community members. I'm speaking regarding agenda item 15. I think we all know too many friends, family members, neighbors, colleagues who've had to leave Santa Cruz when it became utterly unaffordable. My own kids who grew up here are among them. If strengthening the preferences for affordable housing for our local workers and residents is truly important to us, and I do believe it is, we need to do the due diligence of providing the mechanisms for our local preference policy so that the affordable housing available is guaranteed to go to local residents and workers. I wholeheartedly support the city developing the implementation, verification, and enforcement policies and the transparent systems to achieve these. And thank you so much, Council Members O'Hara, Triguera, and Mayor Keeley for your work in moving this forward. The health and strength of our community into the future depends on us seeing this through. Thanks so much for your time and work on this.
Thank you. Person online, we'll take the next person online. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mayor Keeley and City Council members. This is Lyra Filippini. I just wanted to thank those of you who worked to bring agenda item 15 forward. And I also want to thank the rest of you for hopefully supporting it. It's tremendously appreciated and needed. All of you know how valuable our affordable housing is and how high the need is for local residents and workers. I was very pleased to see that state law allows local preferences and really pleased that our own city code already includes it. It's also encouraging that many cities around the state and country have created tracking and enforcement systems to ensure that those who already live or work in their cities and who qualify for affordable housing will get preferred ranking when affordable units become available. Adding a similar tracking and enforcement mechanism for ensuring that our own local preference policy is indeed being followed would be a game changer for the Santa Cruz community. And adding preferences for those facing displacement will strengthen the policy we already have in place. I understand that this will have a fiscal impact and will cost staff time and city funds. I did a little bit of research into what other cities have done and found that there are actually incredibly helpful tools they are using to streamline their tracking and enforcement systems. One of the most useful streamlining tools I came across are platforms being used as portals so that the staff in other cities are not burdened. Some of these portals are very easy for cities to plug into with their own specificities, and we can implement tools like these as well for a modern, streamlined system. This resolution and hopefully a future ordinance and accompanying system will be a win for the sustainability of our community. I also believe it would go a long way toward increasing enthusiasm and trust in the city's role in affordable housing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor Keeley, council members. Thank you for hearing my comments. My name is Len B.A. I have lived in Santa Cruz for 55 years, and I'm speaking in regard to consent item number 15. The city has, for years, worked hard to get as much affordable housing into the community as possible and has on its books, I'm grateful to say, preferences for local residents and local workers to prevent their displacement. However, as we know, unless you track something, you don't know what the results actually will be. And I want to share just a brief story. I'm recently retired as an engineer, and for about 20 years of my career, I worked in what's called the energy saving performance contracting industry. And what that is where my employers would finance projects for commercial and industrial and institutional buildings to help reduce their energy consumption and get paid out of the savings. So there was a bit of speculation involved, but the key was, how do you measure the savings? And if you don't track it, you can't measure it. And if you don't measure it, you won't know what you have. And this resolution that's before you today is a critical piece because, as we know, so many good ideas, the devil is in the details, and these are important details to work out so that we actually know that the preferences that the city has established in policy are actually being implemented. So thank you for your support of the resolution.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else online? No. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting. Hello.
Mayor Keeley. My name's Michelle Miller. I am the Director of Business Operations for Community Bridges. This is on line 22. Thank you both, Council Member Triguero and Council Member Newsom, for your kind and supportive words on this project.
Would you do me a little bit? You have a very soft voice. Make sure. There you go.
Okay.
Now we're good.
That's the first time I've been told that, so.
Today, here at this time.
Yes, thank you. So I'm just here, first of all, to thank Parks and Recreation for their assistance and support with putting together the license agreement and shuttling it through the process. In addition, I just wanted to acknowledge the council for putting this on the agenda. We are still in the design phase, but we're really excited about what this is going to offer to the children of this community, as well as 5 other sites that we have throughout Santa Cruz County. We reference this project as From Blacktop to Bloom, just to represent removing hardscape and trying to put in more natural elements for our kids. So thank you very much. As the paperwork in the agenda packet states, we were awarded $3 million from CAL FIRE for our 6 early education division sites. And this particular site that we're talking about today actually is open to the public during non-school hours, which is really exciting for us to be able to extend it beyond just the students and families that we serve. So thank you all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And other than that, we're just very grateful for the support.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the good work Community Bridges does. Thanks very much on this project.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your presence here. Anyone else online? Anyone else wish to make comments? Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Councilmember Golder. Councilmember moves and Councilmember O'Hara seconds. Any debate or discussion on the items? Seeing here none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero.
Aye.
Brunner.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Golder.
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion carries and so ordered. Let me just say this. I should have made this comment before we voted, but it's not going to affect the vote. A couple of folks asked me yesterday, there were a lot of very nice things said here correctly about the 2 council members and some nice things said about me. Some people say, hey, why isn't your name on that? And let me just explain what was going on. Working on this item, there was expressed interest by 2 council members who said, hey, this is a really interesting item. This is a very interesting policy matter. And I think one of my jobs as mayor, especially with 2 new council members, is to say, let's go ahead and do this. You step forward and go ahead and do this. And they did. And I'm very proud of the work that they delivered and the way you worked with the community. Thank you for doing it that way. We are on consent agenda public hearing. This is items 28 and 29. We will open the public hearing on these items. We will take testimony on both of them at one time. Then we will act on the items. Item 28 is a second reading and final adoption of an uncodified ordinance relative to temporary extension and use of certain adjacent public properties. Item 29 is triennial building code standard adoption and various related actions. Let me first ask if any member wishes to make comment on on these items 28 or 29. Seeing here none, I will open the public hearing on 28 and 29. This will be the opportunity to testify on either of these items. Anyone online? Public hearing is closed. Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Councilmember Brunner.
I move the consent public hearing agenda items 28 and 29.
Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero.
Aye.
Brunner.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Golder. Aye. O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Item 30 has been continued. We are on item 31, adopting local amendments to the California Energy Code of 2025 of the California Building Code cycle. We have various documents available to us. Dr. Wise West is here. make a presentation. Dr. Wise-West, good afternoon. Thank you for your good work. Is is Ms. Stanger going to join you as well?
No, she's not. It's just myself.
Very good. Thank you for being here and thank you for your good work.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm here to share with you today the next energy reach code that we are bringing forward in a series of reach codes as called for in our climate action plan. So as a policy background, through resolution, the council did adopt the climate action plan in 2022 with some specific targets related to emissions reduction. In addition to a number of actions in that climate action plan, there is specifically one regarding increasing resiliency through energy efficiency and local solar programs, equitable solar programs. And that is really what we're bringing forward to you today. Another piece of policy background is that the state is continuing to ban the sale of different types of energy equipment as they did with gas leaf blowers, which you all regulated earlier this year. And eventually, some of these types of equipment are not going to be available for sale here in California. So we really are preparing our community for when that comes. I also just wanted to spell out for you, in case you didn't know, I know this stuff gets really technical. HVAC is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, which is what we're talking about here today for existing non-residential buildings. For this electrification, for decarbonization, we spent a lot of time doing engagement between 2019 and 2024 on a variety of different types of energy reach codes that folks are generally supportive of in our community. So very quickly, what we're looking at here again in existing non-residential buildings is that when an applicant is replacing or adding a single zone rooftop HVAC, which is a package system that both heats and cools, typically one zone, like a small zone that's controlled by one single thermostat. So they're generally smaller in nature. That they basically have two choices. So we're not restricting any choices here. They can go forward with a single zone heat pump that both cools and heats and comply with state code. So no change there. Or if they choose to use a gas-fired furnace with an air conditioner, they would be required through this reach code to add a heat recovery ventilator. And a heat recovery ventilator essentially makes the furnace AC combination more efficient. When warm air in the wintertime is coming out of the building, exchanging stale air that's in the building, that warm air is used to warm the cool air that's coming into exchange, and vice versa in the summer when the cool air that's already been conditioned is being exchanged outside of the building, it's cooling the warm air that's being brought inside. So it creates a more efficient gas-fired AC combo system. And again, there's no choice restriction here. So this is shown a little more clearly in this slide. So if you're only replacing a furnace, only heat, this does not apply. You just go with the state code. Again, if you're replacing the cooling only, you have the two choices. And you see here where it says install air conditioning under Path A, there's very small 5-ton systems that aren't touched by this reach code. And then the larger systems, the 5 to 20-ton systems, do require that heat recovery ventilator. Or you can also use the heat pump, which is state code now. One thing that I will mention is that we analyzed our last 5 years of permits for these types of installations and are finding that increasingly applicants are using the heat pump under state code versus a furnace AC combo, very likely because it is the most cost-effective option. So that is already state code that we're seeing. And as you can see here, when you do add this on the left-hand side, the Path A, the heat recovery ventilator, you actually are creating cost savings in operating the building. You can see that Path B, which is already what our code, the California Energy Code has, is the most cost-effective option. But again, when you add the recovery ventilator to a furnace AC combo, you get that cost down, again, because of the efficiency that comes through with that. So this is really a pretty minor change to the existing code. It does not restrict choice for fuel choice and really creates a more cost-effective option for operating buildings into the future. Oops, here we go. As far as the impacts, we have about 1,400 existing non-residential buildings, but by area, it's a quarter of all of our building area in the city. There are about 400 with central air conditioning and gas heating. And as I said, about a third of the permits for cooling are already complying with this policy. So this is a really good opportunity to get that other 2/3. And I think it's really important to mention that as temperatures increase with climate change, which we are seeing, and as our building stock ages, we will see more and more of these systems coming online. And again, getting that greenhouse gas emissions reduction, getting more control over buildings, and operating buildings more efficiently. Lastly, I just want to point out, I know there's been a lot coming through on REACH code, so I wanted to give you a preview or a backcast on what we've done, and then looking forward. Back in 2022, y'all adopted the gas ban in new construction, which of course we had to come back and do a more flexible path and not restrict fuel choice. So that came in 2024. We had a correction to that earlier this year. We also updated, or rather brought a REACH code for existing family homes, again, not restricting fuel choice, but giving flexible options. What's highlighted is what we're here in front of you with today. And because we're switching from 2022 energy code to 2025, we will be bringing a new construction REACH code forward to you next year, as well as a multifamily residential REACH code when the cost effectiveness studies come out, which they are not out yet, so we can't bring them in front of you. We have to demonstrate with all these REACH codes that there is at least one cost effective option, but in most cases, there are many cost effective options for these REACH codes. And with that, our recommendation is to acknowledge the CEQA determinations and introduce for publication this ordinance in a first hearing. And I'm really happy to take any questions that you might have on this proposed ordinance.
Dr. Weiswasth, thank you and your team and the collaboration among and between departments to bring this in front of us in the shape that it's in. Let me ask if members, Councilmember Golder is recognized.
Thank you. Thank you for all the clarification on this. I did have questions, as you can imagine, and the biggest one was around cost effectiveness. And for that chart that you did, what were you using? I couldn't read the bottom down there where that came from.
Sure, so this is the cost effectiveness study that was completed to support this ordinance. You can see at the bottom, 2025 non-residential alterations and AC to heat pump cost effectiveness study.
Is that the one that was included in the packet?
It is.
So I just would like to note that was Southern California Edison and not PG&E, am I right?
No, it's okay. For our climate regions, so there are different climate zones across California, and for all of the investor-owned utilities. It may have been that they paid for the study, but it is done across all the regions.
Okay. I'm going to support this, but I would like to say that I think the cost of electricity across the state varies vastly, and so it is something to consider. And when we're putting in REACH codes like this, I'm really sensitive to businesses staying in our area. If we're trying to attract and retain businesses to fill our vacant storefronts, I don't want to put up any barriers to keep them from choosing to go to Scotts Valley, Live Oak, Capitola, or other parts of even the county, just because of red tape that we're putting in on ourselves to meet our lofty, important goals. And so I appreciate this, and I am going to support it. I can't say the same for other things moving forward, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Let me see if there are other questions, comments by members. Let me see if there's anyone with us who wishes to make comment on this item. Good afternoon, welcome. While you're approaching, let me ask Ms. Bush, do we have anyone online on this item? No one. Very good. Welcome, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mayor Keeley and Santa Cruz City Council. I'm Anna Capstick, and I'm an energy programs analyst with Central Coast Community Energy, so 3CE, and I'm here today to express our support for your city's climate leadership and the city's proposed REACH Code ordinance and future ordinances for the local amendments to the California Energy Code. So 3CE, if you don't know, is a California community choice aggregation load serving entity. Our mission is to provide reliable, affordable, clean electricity and electrification programs to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across our area. The city of Santa Cruz voted to become a member of 3CE's Joint Power Authority Agreement in 2018. And we are really excited to see these REACH codes come to fruition. We are committed to empowering our customers to use electricity and to help reduce these emissions and these emission factors. Our governing boards have identified electrification as a strategic goal, and we recognize that all electric buildings are cost effective, they're efficient, and they provide cleaner indoor air quality. This also provides substantially lower operational emissions, and it, again, reduces greenhouse gas emissions. So we encourage the city, community members, and local developers to take advantage of our energy programs and to use these programs to incentivize electrification across the area. So together, the city of Santa Cruz and 3CE, we're on track to achieve our climate goals, and we strongly support this effort. Thank you, and thank you, Tiffany, for a great presentation.
Thank you very much. Let me see if anyone else wishes to testify on this matter. Matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I'll move item 31.
There's a motion by Councilmember O'Hara. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Triguero. Debate or discussion, you may open on your motion.
Thank you. Just very brief comments. Appreciation to Dr. Tiffany Wise-West for this critical work. I think when my daughters marched their first climate strike, I felt like so hopeless, honestly, about how the heck locally are we ever going to imagine making a dent in what they are so scared of grappling with. And each and every one of these policies that we bring forward that are under your leadership get us incrementally further. So while this might not seem, well, and it's complicated, I understand that. While this might not seem an order of magnitude that would make a big difference, when you put everything together, it does. And so I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to continuing to have this conversation about electrification. And I do appreciate the flexibility around that you talked about during the presentation about source, because I think that will keep everybody together in the community, because I know that that's been complicated over the last year or so. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the debate or discussion. I want to thank CCCE for being here. For those unfamiliar with it, it is under law, California law, you can create a community choice aggregation entity, which essentially you end up standing in the shoes of the regulated utility in procuring electricity. Mr. Huffaker is this year the chair of the technical committee. I'm chair of the policy committee this year. The CCCE is the largest community choice aggregation entity in California and in the country. And the reason the attraction is greener and cheaper. And the way we can do it cheaper is we don't have to provide 9.9% opportunity for rate of return like the utility does. And we have exemptions from certain taxes. So that gives us about a 24% business input advantage. We turn that around and are able to partner up and do good work with Dr. Wise-West and hope to export this all over the CCCE empire, which includes Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Benito, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Ventura, all these counties. So we're doing something that can be exported to all of those other communities, and working in that kind of partnership is very important. Dr. Wise-West and your team, thank you all very, very much. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero.
Aye.
Brunner.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Golder. Aye. O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Keeley.
All right, motion passes as ordered. Thank you. Thank you. We're on item 32. These are year-end budget adjustments for fiscal year 2025. And we're just about at the end of the year, apparently. So Ms. Cabell is here to tell us about the puts and takes in our budget. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Elizabeth Cabell, Finance Director, and I'm here with Emily Burton, our budget manager, to bring the year-end budget adjustment and also kind of a sneak peek into how the fiscal year 25 is ending. So first of all, so for the budget adjustment, the attachment that's in your packet, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of words, things going on. But basically, I wanted just sort of to summarize that, not so much numerically, but just sort of what goes on there. It's no new appropriations, no new services, no new programs. It's basically corrections and updates to get everything, to clean up projects, to move things from general ledger accounts into project accounts. But it's there's a lot going on, but it's not really, we're not asking for any kind of new appropriations for anything. We just want to get the general fund, as well as the other enterprise funds, everything all sort of cleaned up as we close the year. So the other thing I wanted to talk about today is sort of how we're going to end 25. Right now, we are in our second week of the audit. Our year-end audit, we don't usually finish until December. We present the financial statements to you in like January, February. By that time, we're already thinking about the next year. So I wanted to give you some information now that we have, knowing some of these numbers may change, but really, honestly, not by much. So it looks like we're going to end 25 with about 161 million in revenue against about the same in expenses. A couple of things to keep in mind here. We did have $4 million this year, or in 25. That was one-time grant money we received from the state. So that increased both our revenue and our expenses, again, keeping us in balance. So that's reflected there, as well as it's the first year of our new sales tax. That was also reflected there. So on the revenue side, again, just to sort of point out, we're kind of steadily increasing on, these are our main tax revenues here: property tax, sales tax, transient occupancy tax, and utility user tax. You see the big jump in sales tax. Again, that's our new sales tax that was in effect for the entire fiscal year 25. So you'll see that reflected there. On the expense side of things, this also is very consistent year to year. The large piece there is public safety, both police and fire. Our administrative service departments are there in yellow: HR, finance, and IT. City manager, city clerk, city attorney, homelessness response, that's all there in the purple. Parks and Rec down there. So this breakdown is very similar every year as far as what percentage is what department. So the numbers change a little bit, but this is very consistent year to year. And then the last piece that I sort of always talk about in these presentations is our reserves. And we, again, are continuing to increase, especially our pension reserve. We haven't touched that, so that's just increasing with investment returns. The other two reserves that are there in kind of the purple and the yellow, our operating reserve and our emergency reserve, those also increase a little bit every year. The operating reserve is based on 5% of our operating budget, so that kind of increases as our budget increases. Our emergency reserve, again, is something that we have not touched much of. We did do a little bit of a drawdown in 24 for some work on West Cliff, but that really those reserves just continue to earn money there. But our goal, the important thing here with this slide, is that our goal is still that line at the top. We really want to have 2 months operating reserves, and we're not quite there yet. So you can see the pension reserve I have sort of sitting on the side there because that is restricted and can only be used for pension expenses. So when I look at kind of gauging how we're doing against our reserves, I'm really looking at the emergency and the operating reserve, because those are things that, I can come to you and say, okay, we need this, and these are the reserves that we have. So our goal, again, is to get to that kind of pinkish line up there, which is basically 2 months operating reserves. So that's really it, short and sweet. So the recommendation is to move the resolution amending the fiscal year 2025 budget to adjust the revenue and expenditure budgets in various funds. And Emily and I are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Cabell. Thanks to you and your team over there in the finance department. This isn't the only thing you do over there, and you do many things, and we appreciate the attention to detail and the fiscal solvency of the city. Thank you very much to you and your staff. Questions and comments by members? Anyone with us today wish to comment on this item? Anyone online, Ms. Bush? Who wishes to comment on this item? Okay, very good. The matter is back before the body, the pleasure of the body. Councilmember Triguero moves the recommendation. Second by the Vice Mayor. Debate or discussion, Ms. Triguero, on your motion?
No.
Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Triguero.
Aye.
Brunner.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Holder.
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantori Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes in order. Thank you, Ms. Cabell. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here and your fine work. We're on item 33. With any luck at all, this will be our last item today. It is a Resilient Coast Santa Cruz 2.0 overview of project and draft equitable engagement strategy. We have a couple of our very fine staff folks who are with us today. Dr. Wise-West, would you like to introduce your colleague? Thank you.
Yes, I will indeed. Thank you, Mayor and council members. We're pleased to be here today to introduce a new, very important coastal project. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Hillary Pappendick. She is a senior resilience planner. She's been with the city for about a year now, and she's going to be giving the majority of the presentation. But I wanted to lead by making sure that there's no confusion about what we've brought to you here today, which is the draft equitable engagement strategy for this project, not to be confused with the equitable engagement policy that our communications manager is working on right now. However, this strategy contains many of the elements that policy will be bringing forward. And so we're eager to highlight that for you here today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Hillary for the presentation.
Ms. Pappendick, welcome. Please proceed.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Hillary Pappendick. How's the volume? Is it okay? The Resilient Coast Santa Cruz 2.0 project will result in development of medium-term or 20 to 30-year adaptation plans for 3 sub-areas in Santa Cruz: West Cliff, Main Cal Beaches, and Seabright East Cliff area. The adaptation plans will be accompanied by accessible blueprints. This project builds off extensive coastal planning work already completed along West Cliff and other areas, and will align with other local and regional plans. This project will fill in gaps and will define a set of mid-term projects and longer-term adaptation pathways, along with costs and funding and financing strategies. This project is specifically designed to demonstrate compliance with SB 272, which requires local governments to develop a sea level rise plan approved by the Coastal Commission. This project has, I also wanted to mention that the LCP Beaches and Bluffs chapter push out development of additional policies to this project. The LCP will require development of the shoreline management plans and within 5 years, and then we will return to the Coastal Commission with an LCP amendment. The current LCP Beaches and Bluffs chapter is slated for adoption to bring to this council in November 18th. And this project is being supported by AECOM, which we competitively selected for this project. Now I will talk about the project has 4 phases, which will be complete by winter 2027. We recently kicked off this project and are in phase 1, community level setting. This involves summarizing existing and future conditions for each sub-area and filling any gaps. Phase 2 will start this winter and includes development of a set of midterm projects and adaptation pathways for each area. Phase 3 includes developing costs for different project options and adaptation pathways, and this will help us see the trade-offs between different project alternatives. It also includes looking at the funding and financing strategies, which will help us find funding for all of the near and midterm projects. Finally, phase 4 includes the development of the shoreline adaptation management plans, the implementation blueprints, and the recommended local coastal program policy updates. As you can see, community engagement is going to be occurring throughout the entire project. Now I'll go over some of our equitable engagement strategies that we have. As you might have seen in the strategy that we attached, we'll be working closely with an advisory committee to develop equity principles for the project. The advisory committee will meet 4 to 5 times throughout the project, and our first meeting is this Thursday. We have invited a broad, diverse group of people to participate in the committee, including government agencies, academia, businesses, residents, our tribal partners, community groups, coastal recreation, and environmental justice organizations. And then all community members and interested parties will be invited to participate in the community conversations, which we will have in each sub-area 2 times throughout the project. We're also conducting 10 focus groups to better understand the specific interests of different groups and the sub-areas. We'll be continuing to consult with the tribal partners throughout the project, and are also going to be using public opinion polling to validate what we hear from community members in the engagement. And we'll come back to council for 3 additional updates throughout the project. Here's an overview of our upcoming engagement events. As I mentioned, our first advisory committee meeting is this Thursday. We also have 3 upcoming open houses for community members to learn more about the project. These are coming up on November 5th, 6th, and 13th. We encourage anyone who's interested in attending these to register and indicate whether interpretation is necessary. We'll have children's activities there, a virtual reality headset with our new nature-based solutions app, as well as opportunities for community members to learn about the project and share ideas. That's all I have for you today. We welcome questions or any feedback.
Well, that sounds like plenty today. Thank you for all that good work. Let me see. Council members, we'll start with Councilmember Golder.
I just have one question. So how did the people get chosen for that group, or have they been chosen yet? And if it hasn't, how do people apply?
So we made invitations to about 50 people in the community, again, through a wide range of folks, both whom we've worked with before, folks that have expressed interest, and invited them to join us. And so it was really not an application process. They just needed to indicate if they're interested. We got 33 people that indicated their interest. Of course, not everyone's going to be able to make every meeting, so we're anticipating about 20 of those 33 people at our first meeting this Thursday.
And those are open to the public if other people still want to come, or? No? Yes?
I think if there are people that if we've missed or that we feel like are interested in participating, we'd be happy to look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Brunner, then the Vice Mayor. Councilmember Brunner.
My question was similar. In the staff report, it spoke about the general categories of an advisory body, and in the presentation, it said the advisory body's meeting Thursday, so that means there already is an advisory body.
Yes, we spent August, September, October making the invitations, organizing the meeting, and so forth.
Okay, and the advisory body is open to the public, or it's just the advisory body meeting?
Quite frankly, the advisory body meeting is the advisory body. We are going to be having community meetings. If there are folks, if there are folks that feel that a particular interest group is not represented, we certainly are happy to invite them in, but we really want to use that advisory body as a working group to share with them in progress deliverables, get feedback on stuff before it goes to the public.
Okay, so I had a comment, a question regarding that, looking at the staff report and the categories of realtors, local nonprofits, environmental groups, coastal recreation groups, indigenous people, etc. I was curious if the harbor, port, anyone in that category, any fishers, live-in boat people at the harbor. I don't know, I was just thinking.
The first 2 categories, definitely.
Okay.
The harbor is not within the scope of this project. So I don't know about the live-in voters. I don't know how much they would be impacted
Okay.
necessarily by this project, but the harbor master will be participating, and we've also made invitations to Fisher people.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor is recognized.
Thank you. Can I see the last slide, I think, before this? Okay, so these are the open houses are the community meetings where community can come and give input for now, and it seems like there will be more opportunities. Is this on are we putting this on our social media and website? Okay, then I'll follow it and then repost it. What was my other, not a question, just a comment that 2 weeks ago, there was the League of California Cities, and I'm part of the Coastal Cities Leadership Group, and Dr. Wise West and the planning department helped me put together some talking points, and I made a brief presentation of the work that we're doing here, and there's wide interest from coastal cities across the state, just to kind of see and watch and learn what we're doing. So we're on the forefront once again, so thank you so much for your work.
Anyone with us wish to make comment on this item? Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
Is there a motion to accept?
This is I don't believe we need to take action today. This is an informational item, gathering our input, right?
That's
We're good.
correct.
We're finished then with that item.
That's correct.
Thank you both very much for your good work. Best wishes for all of the engagement with the community moving forward. Let me see, Ms. Bush, do we have further business to come before the body?
I have nothing.
Mr. Condotti, what do you think?
We have nothing further.
You think we have completed our business for the day? Well, with great reluctance, Mr. Newsom, with a tear in his eye and a choke in his voice, wishes to adjourn. The Councilmember Golder, who oftentimes says, no, we are going to stay here for more hours, reluctantly seconds that motion, which is not debatable. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Greg, what are you doing here today? You didn't even come out and testify.